Hello beloved souls, thank you for tuning into the Spiritual Podcasts channel. This channel is all about good vibes, positive energy, and meaningful conversations. To keep this space welcoming for everyone, we kindly ask that comments stay respectful, kind, and in the spirit of the content shared here. We reserve the right to delete any comments that don't align with this intention. No hard feelings, just protecting the vibe. Thanks for being here and spreading the light. Please be cautious of anyone claiming to represent Spiritual Podcast and asking you for money, donations, or personal information. We will never ask you for money through comments, messages, or DMs. All official updates and content come only from this channel. If you see suspicious activity, please report it immediately. Stay safe and thank you for being part of our community. If you enjoy the video and its content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Please be kind to other viewers of the channel. The video is about to start.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a topic that really pushes the envelope. It's called the future of mediumistic medicine.
Yeah, definitely. It's a convergence of science, spirituality, healing. It certainly challenges a lot of, conventional thinking.
Absolutely. We'll be unpacking the work of Dr. Paulo Cesar Fructuoso, a pretty remarkable figure whose perspective, it often stands in contrast to mainstream science.
Right. And our goal here, our mission for this deep dive, is really to guide you through his extraordinary experiences and, frankly, profound insights.
We'll look at how his decades of observation, and he's got this extensive medical background, which we'll get into, plus this deep engagement with spiritual phenomena, how that might just redefine what we think of as medicine.
Or even reality itself.
Yeah.
Get ready for some really thought-provoking stuff, some definite aha moments, I think, that might make you rethink, the whole nature of healing.
Our main source today is a lecture Dr. Fructuoso gave himself. It's called a Medicina Mediúnica do Futuro, which translates to the mediumistic medicine of the future. And you can find it on YouTube on the Comunhão Espírita de Brasília channel.
And it's really crucial to understand, like you said, this isn't just someone advocating from the sidelines. Dr. Fructuoso is a highly specialized Brazilian surgeon.
Yeah, a professor at 2 medical schools, author of 10 books on this very subject. One's even translated into 5 languages.
And all the royalties go to charity, which says something too. His whole journey into this is, it's anything but ordinary.
Exactly. And those credentials, they really make you pause and consider his, let's say, unconventional claims. Okay, let's dive in, right? Let's start by grounding this. Dr. Fructuoso's story, his credibility, really rests on his deep roots in conventional medicine. We need to get a handle on that first.
Absolutely. This isn't someone on the fringes. This is a man steeped in decades of rigorous medical science.
He was born in Rio de Janeiro, 1949, graduated from the Federal University of Rio back in 1975. So a long, distinguished career as a surgeon.
And not just general surgery. He holds 3 specialties: general surgery, oncological surgery, so cancer surgery, and video surgery.
Think about that. The years of study, the hands-on training. Mastering 3 complex fields like that is, it's immense.
And he's still practicing and teaching. He's a surgeon and professor at the University Hospital Pedro Ernesto, that's at UERJ, and also teaches at another medical school, Sousa Marques.
These aren't minor roles, these are significant positions.
And get this, he coordinates the Medicine and Spirituality Working Group at the Regional Medical Council of Rio de Janeiro.
Wow, okay, so that suggests there's at least some growing inquiry, maybe cautious, but it's happening within the established medical community.
Seems like it. And then the 10 books, the translations, the charity donations, he's not just practicing, he's really a thought leader in this convergence.
It's this solid foundation in conventional medicine that makes his journey into the unconventional just so compelling, worth digging into.
So what's really fascinating is how he explains getting into this. For a guy with his training.
Right. Was it a spiritual calling?
No, not according to him. He's very explicit. It wasn't about finding religious comfort or, the blessings of the gospel, or even the power of love and forgiveness.
Huh. So what was it then?
Pure, simple, scientific curiosity. That's what he says. He wasn't after dogma, he just wanted answers.
Answers to what, though? Medical questions.
More fundamental, actually, almost childlike, like he says. Why is the sky blue? Why are clouds white? How does my father's sperm unite with my mother's egg to form a zygote and constitute a whole body like this?
Wow. So basic existence questions, not mysticism, but science pushing its own boundaries.
Exactly. He was looking for a bigger picture, something beyond what medical school taught him about reality.
And were there people who influenced this direction?
Mentors? Oh, definitely. 2 key figures he credits. First, Frei Luís, he was a Franciscan friar, German originally, came to Brazil early 20th century.
Okay. And what was his significance?
Fructuoso calls him a true saint because of these prodigies he performed in the mountains near Rio. Extraordinary stuff, apparently, defying normal explanation.
Miracles, maybe?
But Fructuoso frames it differently. He attributes these feats to Frei Luís's ostensive mediumship.
Mediumship. Okay, so bringing it into this realm of like human energetic ability, not just divine intervention.
Precisely. That's his interpretation. And the second major influence was Luís de Rocha Lima.
And who was he?
Fructuoso calls him the greatest man I knew. Not just a believer, but a profound student of the science of mediumship.
The science of mediumship. Interesting phrasing.
Yeah, implying a systematic investigative approach. Fructuoso studied with him, learned from him for 20 years, like an apprenticeship in spiritual science.
20 years. Okay, so Frei Luís demonstrated the phenomena, and Rocha Lima provided a framework to understand it.
That seems to be the gist. They formed the bedrock for Fructuoso's own work.
Now, you mentioned Fructuoso seeking answers. Did he ever share anything more personal about his motivations?
He did, and it's pretty extraordinary and humbling. He openly states he believes he was a torturer during the Spanish Inquisition.
Wait, seriously? A torturer?
That's what he claims. He says now, as a surgeon, he uses steel and iron to relieve and to cure, but believes in a past life he used those same tools to torture and to kill.
That's intense. How does he reconcile that with being a doctor now?
It's fascinating. He actually posits that many of his current patients, the ones he's trying to heal, might be individuals he harmed back then.
Wow. The karmic weight of that?
Exactly. And he sees the fact that we don't remember past lives as a divine gift. He thinks if he did remember the specifics, the faces, he couldn't psychologically handle being a surgeon. The burden would be too great.
I can see that. That makes a strange kind of sense.
And this leads him to a bigger idea about relationships. He says, we are not companions, parents, or friends by chance. It's all part of a plan.
A pre-planned existence. Like destiny.
Sort of.
Yeah.
More like we're all stones in a grand puzzle, as he puts it, being assembled to help humanity evolve. Every interaction, every relationship has this deeper, often karmic purpose.
It changes how you'd view everyday life, doesn't it? Seeing everything as part of a bigger design.
Completely. It transforms ordinary encounters into potentially profound moments of connection and reconciliation.
So connecting all these threads, the scientific curiosity, the influences, the past life beliefs, what's his overall take on human existence? Where are we headed?
It's incredibly optimistic, but also kind of demanding. He says everyone here is condemned to immortality, condemned to perfection.
Condemned. That's strong wording.
It is. But he means there's no escaping it. It's like a cosmic law. Over trillions of years, and yes, he says trillions, humanity will gather more and more knowledge with a basis in wisdom.
Knowledge and wisdom, important distinction.
Right? And find more happiness. And the way we do that is by practicing more and more good for the benefit of others, our fellow beings, and the nature of the planet we inhabit.
That resonates, especially now seeing the state of the planet, the fires, the climate change.
He directly addresses that. He says suffering caused to others or to nature gets impregnated in an extra physical component called the perispirit.
Okay, the perispirit. Can you unpack that a bit? What is it in his view?
Think of it as a subtle body, an energetic counterpart to our physical one. Like a spiritual blueprint or an energy field that carries the imprint of everything, actions, thoughts, emotions.
And this perispirit is linked to illness.
That's his core argument. He claims it's the seat of an immensity of diseases.
Right.
Because it holds the energetic root causes, the karmic imprints.
Whereas regular medicine
Only treats the physical effects, the symptoms. It doesn't get to the underlying spiritual or karmic source, according to him.
which logically leads to.
Exactly. The mediumistic medicine of the future, where doctors will understand and treat these deeper causes, the issues lodged in the perispirit.
Right. That sets the stage perfectly. Let's move into how he started observing these phenomena directly. Okay, so this is where Dr. Fructuoso, the trained scientist, really confronts the inexplicable, right?
Yeah, this is the pivot point. He calls himself a modern Thomas. Needed tangible proof, not just faith.
So he wasn't predisposed to believe this stuff.
Not at all. He says his whole belief system formed because of phenomenology that has no explanation, but happens, it happens. It forced him to reconsider.
And what did he see? He mentioned ghosts.
He did, initially, right after medical school in 1975. But he quickly clarifies he meant materialized spirits.
Ah, materialize. That sounds different. More physical.
Precisely. That's the key distinction for him. Not just a vague sighting, but something real, observable, almost scientifically verifiable, even if the science isn't there yet to fully explain how. He needed to see, hear, touch.
Okay, so what does he mean by materialized spirits? How does that work in his model?
Right, to get that, you need his core idea of what a person is.
Yeah.
The physical body, he says, is just a vehicle for this physical world.
Like a car we drive around in?
Kind of. But he says everyone also has a second component, an energetic, vital, spiritual, life-transmitting, immortal component.
The spirit or soul.
Essentially.
Huh.
And when we die, this component doesn't vanish. It just shifts, he says, into a parallel universe.
Parallel universe, like in physics.
He uses that term. He says religious names like spiritual plane, astral plane, celestial plane, they're just different labels for this same concept.
Okay, so spirits exist in a parallel dimension. How do they materialize here?
This is the really wild part. He claims that under special, very rare, very dangerous conditions and using tremendous amounts of energy, entities from that parallel universe can actually teleport and for some moments materialize right here in our physical reality.
Teleport and materialize, wow. So not just seeing something wispy, but actually appearing.
A temporary, but according to him, complete return to the physical plane.
And would everyone see it? Or just certain people?
That's his point. He stresses it's not subjective. If a spirit truly materialized, everyone would see it. If it spoke, everyone would hear it. If it had a scent, everyone would perceive it.
And you could touch it.
It's palpable, he says. It's physically present, interacting with our world via all five senses. An objective event, not just in someone's head.
That's crucial for his scientific approach, I guess. It has to be observable.
Exactly. And this wasn't just a theory for him. He experienced this himself. Right after graduating in '75, it became the foundation of everything else.
So, experiencing this led him to ask, what?
The big questions for him became, what if the spirits materializing were doctors? Could you actually talk to them, doctor to doctor, exchange technical information?
A dialogue with materialized doctors.
He claims exactly that.
Yeah.
And not just once. He says these dialogues continued for almost 40 years.
40 years. That's not an anecdote. That's long-term engagement.
It's systematic observation, he'd argue. A sustained interaction with disincarnate medical intelligence. That's the bedrock of his whole concept of mediumistic medicine.
Okay, so facing these experiences, what did he do? Professionally, this must have been tricky.
Immensely tricky. He describes facing a stark choice. He could turn to the left, dismiss it all. Delusion, imagination, whatever.
Which would let him keep his normal career, no questions asked.
Right, because, as he puts it, who would surrender anesthetized to the hands of a surgeon who confesses to believing in ghosts? The risk was huge. Or turn to the right, which is what he did. Trust his own observations and rigorously seek scientific and historical validation, even if it flew in the face of current paradigms.
Choosing observation over skepticism, that speaks to his integrity as a scientist, maybe.
You could definitely argue that. He wasn't willing to ignore data just because it didn't fit.
Did he find any validation? Historically, scientifically?
He did, and this is where his scientific mind kicked in. He didn't just accept, he researched. He found that a lot of respected scientists throughout history had actually witnessed and studied similar phenomena.
Really? Like who?
He named some heavy hitters. Alexis Carrel, Nobel Prize in Medicine, 1912. Discovered anticoagulants, revolutionized transfusions and transplants.
A Nobel laureate.
Charles Rocha, Nobel Prize in Medicine, 1913. Discovered anaphylaxis. And significantly, he was the one who coined the term ectoplasm.
Ectoplasm, we hear that term a lot in this context, so it came from a Nobel winner.
Yep. Then there's William Crookes, a major physicist, cathode rays, radiant matter, thallium. His work led to things like TV and GPS. Crookes was a serious investigator of spiritual phenomena.
Wow. Physics and spiritual phenomena.
And even Cesar Lombroso, the father of forensic judicial medicine, highly rational guy, reportedly saw his own mother materialize.
Okay, so these weren't fringe figures. These were scientific giants.
Exactly. For Fructuoso, finding these historical precedents wasn't just interesting trivia. It was critical validation. It gave him the courage to continue his own decades of study, knowing he wasn't alone in observing these bizarre things.
But still, today this isn't exactly mainstream science, is it?
Not at all. And he's upfront about that. He admits, we don't understand how it happens in a conventional scientific way. And crucially, these phenomena cannot yet be repeated in a laboratory on demand.
Which is usually the gold standard for science, right? Repeatability.
It is. But he draws parallels. Think of Gregor Mendel studying peas to figure out genetics, long before anyone could see DNA. Or Darwin observing species to understand evolution, without watching it happen in a lab in real time.
So he's saying we're just early in the process.
We are still in the observation phase, he says. For him, there's no actual mystery, no supernatural, no miracles involved. It's all just physical, chemical, and biological laws that our science has not yet reached, but will.
He seems very confident that science will catch up eventually.
Absolutely. He sees this still not common phase as temporary. Just like genetics and evolution went from radical observation to established science, he believes these phenomena will eventually be understood and integrated. The unknown is just the not yet known.
Right. Waiting for our understanding to evolve. Okay, let's get into the mechanics he describes, starting with that term Ashaya coined. Ectoplasm. Okay, ectoplasm. This sounds like something out of science fiction, but Dr. Fructuoso treats it as a real biological substance, right?
He does. He gets quite specific about the mechanics, or what he observed. He explains that mediums, when they go into a deep trance state, sometimes even fainting their bodies, do something unusual.
It's that.
They produce large amounts of melatonin, the hormone usually associated with sleep. And he specifies it comes from the pineal gland.
It's the pineal gland, often called the third eye in spiritual circles.
Exactly. And in this state, he says, the mediums expel through the body's natural orifices an energetic substance. And that is what Richer called ectoplasm.
Expel it, like physically.
That's the claim. And he says it's not unique to mediums. He asserts ectoplasm is present in all living things, plants, animals, humans. It's some kind of fundamental life energy.
And this ectoplasm is the key to materialization.
It's the bridge, the raw material. He says it's the energy with which spirits can teletransport and materialize into our physical dimension, the interface between their world and ours.
Does he describe what it looks like? Or feels like?
He gives some vivid descriptions. Sometimes he says it looks like shaving foam coming out of the medium's nose and mouth.
Shaving foam. Wow, okay.
And materialized spirits, he observed, often appear covered in shining cloaks. He actually suggests this is the real origin of old stories about ghosts in white sheets.
Huh, a scientific explanation for folklore.
That's his approach. He even references photos apparently showing a medium with ectoplasm extruding from his face, and right beside him, a fully materialized female entity called Sister Josefa.
A female entity from a male medium.
Yeah, and he highlights that specifically to show the materialized spirit is distinct, separate from the medium's own body and gender. Yeah. Reinforces the objectivity claim.
It's hard to picture, but he connects these modern observations to older texts too, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He reinterprets some very famous biblical events through this lens. Take the Transfiguration Jesus appearing with Moses and Elijah.
Right. Moses died maybe 1,500 years before, Elijah 800 years?
Exactly. Fructuoso doesn't see it as just a vision. He interprets it as Moses and Elijah materializing. And he speculates Jesus must have had 2 or 3 physical effects mediums with him to provide the necessary ectoplasmic energy for that.
Okay, that's a radical rereading. What about Paul on the road to Damascus?
Same idea. Jesus materializing. And the others with Paul didn't see Jesus, but saw a blinding flash of light. Fructuoso links that to the immense energy release of materialization.
And the angels at Jesus' tomb?
He suggests the angels with resplendent robes were 2 materialized spirits teletransported. And then he throws out a really wild hypothesis about the energy source.
Which was?
Maybe a nearby medium? Or maybe, he speculates, the energy came from the atomic disintegration of Jesus' body itself.
Whoa! Atomic disintegration? That sounds explosive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this brings up the sheer energy involved. Fructuoso, thinking like a scientist, does the calculation. If Jesus' body, say 81 kilograms, disintegrated atomically in less than 1/100th of a second,
what would happen?
all Judea would have been destroyed in an atomic explosion. It's a chilling calculation of the power involved.
So maybe not literal disintegration then, but still, immense energy.
Immense. He quantifies the energy needed just to materialize and dematerialize one human body as equivalent to 2 hydrogen bombs.
2 hydrogen bombs for one materialization.
That's his comparison. A second entity materializing. That's 3 H-bombs, dematerializing the second one. 4 H-bombs. It's an almost incomprehensible scale of energy manipulation.
That's staggering. Where does that kind of energy even come from?
And here's the most profound part, according to Fructuoso. He stresses this energy is within each of us.
Within us. We have the equivalent of H-bombs inside us.
That's the implication. A radical view of human potential, but also human responsibility.
Responsibility how?
Well, he immediately raises concerns. What would a terrorist do with this energy if it could be harnessed maliciously? The devastation is unthinkable.
True.
And there's another danger. He says this energy is incredibly sensitive to thought. If someone is involved in these processes but thinking negative things, worrying about bills to pay, parties, arguments, that negative thought energy could create what he calls beasts.
Beasts? What? Monsters?
Negative energetic forms. And he warns that unintended intelligences could potentially use these negative forms for harmful purposes.
So our thoughts have tangible, energetic consequences that others could exploit. That's sobering.
Very. It underscores the critical need for ethical development alongside any understanding or use of such power.
Which brings us back to his main point, right? That none of this is magic.
Exactly. No magic, no miracles, just laws we don't understand yet. These beasts aren't superstitious demons. They're energetic constructs formed by misdirected power, a consequence of our inner state impacting reality, all within undiscovered natural laws.
Undiscovered laws. Yeah. Okay. So where did he conduct most of these observations? He mentioned a specific place, right? Lar de Frei Luiz. You mentioned it's this huge spiritist center in Rio.
Huge is an understatement. 120,000 square meters. It's massive. And it's not just a place for meetings. It's deeply involved in social work.
Like what?
An orphanage with over 500 kids, an asylum for the elderly, a medical clinic with 40 volunteer doctors offering free care. It's a whole ecosystem.
And thousands attend the spiritist meetings there too, you said.
4,000 to 5,000 people regularly. It's a major hub.
And you mentioned something surprising about its leadership.
Right. Despite being a spiritist center, it's actually managed by Catholic entities. Padre Isabel, Frei Leonardo, Frei Benedito.
Huh, how does that work?
Fructuoso sees it as reflecting this universal spirit beyond specific religions, like his quote, "We are one flock with one shepherd, Jesus, the planetary Christ of Earth." It's about shared values and purpose, not dogma.
Interesting. Now, within this huge complex, there's a special building.
Yes, the Sanctuary of Materializations. Purpose-built in the middle of a forest, on top of a mountain, on the Lar de Frei Luiz grounds.
Sounds secluded and expensive to build, probably.
Fructuoso implies exactly that. Huge effort and cost, suggesting something extremely important must happen there.
And he made a pretty wild claim about it.
He did. What happened at Lar de Frei Luiz didn't happen at any other moment in the history of humanity on any point of our planet.
That's a big statement. What's he referring to?
60 continuous years of spirit materializations happening within that sanctuary. Unprecedented in his view. A living laboratory.
60 years, okay. And did they document this? You mentioned photos earlier?
Yes, and this gets into some controversial territory. He said 7 photos were taken there of deformed animalistic spirits, what he calls fallen spirits.
Fallen spirits materialized and photographed. That sounds disturbing.
He documented it in his second book, Fallen Spirits Materialized. But interestingly, he didn't have the courage to publish the photos.
Why not, if it's evidence?
He gave 3 reasons, all quite ethical. 1, respect for their privacy. He wouldn't want his picture published if he looked like that.
Okay.
2, these spirits were apparently conquered by Frei Luiz's love and were in recovery. Publishing the photos felt like a betrayal of that process.
And the third?
A reminder of humility. He doesn't remember his own past lives and says he could have been worse than them. So who is he to judge or expose them?
That's a remarkably compassionate stance considering the subject matter.
It really is. It shows his approach, even amidst these extraordinary claims.
Can you describe the sanctuary itself? What was it like inside during these sessions?
He describes it as an auditorium, fairly intimate, 80 seats, 4 beds for patients needing treatment, and 2 special cabins for the mediums.
And he spent almost 40 years there, observing.
Sitting right at the headboard of one of those beds, he says, watching everything. The conditions were very specific.
Like what?
It started in total darkness. Then they'd switch to a red light.
Why red light?
Because it's the least energetic wavelength of visible light, least likely to interfere with the ectoplasm, the spirits, or the medium's trance state.
And the main purpose of these sessions?
Primarily, attendance of serious patients. People, conventional medicine couldn't help much, especially cancer patients. Remember, his specialty is oncological surgery.
So it was a form of spiritual hospital, almost.
In a way, but also a secondary purpose, to provide flashes, lightning, glimpses of what the mediumistic medicine of the future will be. A lab for the future.
How did the healing process actually work in there?
He describes a systematic procedure, often starting with lightning from the medium's cabins.
Actual lightning.
He identifies it as ultraviolet radiation, acting as a sterilizer for the room's atmosphere.
UV sterilization. Okay.
Then they'd use techniques to turn oxygen into ozone, O3, which kills most microorganisms. This was crucial to prevent infections during what he calls hyperphysical surgery.
Hyperphysical surgeries, meaning?
Surgeries that seem to operate beyond normal physical limitations, maybe involving direct energetic manipulation. After the sterilization, often a luminous being would emerge from behind a curtain to work on the patients.
A luminous being. And Fructuoso would interact with them.
Later, he dialogued directly with materialized doctors inside the cabins, doctor to doctor, using technical medical terms.
And sometimes these doctors spoke languages the medium didn't know.
Exactly, xenoglossy, which for him was strong evidence that the intelligence communicating was separate from the medium. It wasn't just subconscious knowledge.
This is just layer upon layer of extraordinary claims. Did he mention any specific spirit doctors he talked to?
Oh yes. One was central to his nearly 40 years of dialogue. A materialized doctor named Friedrich von Stein.
Friedrich von Stein. And his story is unique.
Extremely. Von Stein, Fructuoso says, was a former Nazi army surgeon.
A Nazi surgeon.
Yeah.
Materializing in a spiritist center in Brazil. How did that happen?
Fructuoso explains, von Stein was drawn there because the orphanage had reincarnated Jews. He was caught, Fructuoso says, in the net of Frei Luis's love. Frei Luis also being German. A karmic connection, perhaps.
What was von Stein like initially?
Apparently, when he first incorporated into a medium named Benan, he'd salute Hitler in German. They needed an Austrian prison to translate. Shows the deep trauma he carried.
Wow. Did he change?
After a decade of silence, he returned, incorporating through a different medium, Gilberto Rosa. And Fructuoso dialogued with this Friedrich von Stein from 1978 until 2015.
Nearly 40 years talking to a materialized ex-Nazi surgeon spirit. It sounds like a movie plot.
Doesn't it? Fructuoso even recounts von Stein materializing holding books, or with lilies Frei Luis's symbolic flower because the friar loved gardening. These details aim to underscore his physical, tangible presence.
This relationship with von Stein seems absolutely key to Fructuoso's understanding.
It appears to be the primary source for much of the detailed information about mediumistic medicine he shares.
Okay, let's shift focus slightly. How does Fructuoso see this fitting into the broader history and future of medicine itself?
Right, so Fructuoso places all this within a larger historical context of medicine's evolution.
Yeah, he outlines these stages. Stage 1, early medicine. Shamans, healers using herbs, trial and error. Some things worked, like quinine, others didn't. Very empirical.
Then stage 2.
Vaccines and antibiotics. A huge leap, tackling infectious diseases, extending lifespans dramatically. Modern science starting to make big impacts.
And stage 3 is where we are now.
Pretty much. Molecular biology, high-tech imaging, complex surgeries. Analyzing diseases like cancer down to the molecule, the atom. Very sophisticated understanding of the physical body.
So where does mediumistic medicine fit in? Is it stage 4?
Exactly. He calls it the 4th stage, a massive evolutionary jump. This is where doctors combine conventional knowledge with telepathic contact with their accompanying colleagues.
The spiritual doctors.
Right. He firmly believes no dedicated doctor is ever truly alone. They're always assisted by these unseen medical intelligences. And how does that work in practice? What are the spirit doctors doing?
He uses this analogy. The spiritual doctors treat the butterfly, the spirit, the energy body, the paraspirit, while the physical doctors treat the cocoon, the physical body.
Ah, butterfly and cocoon. I like that. So it explains what?
Unexplained cures, spontaneous remissions, things that baffle regular medicine. He suggests it's often this unseen, cooperative healing effort between both sides.
And the future doctor in this 4th stage.
They'll be powerful mediums themselves, he believes, with ultrasenses, able to manipulate both physical and extra-physical energies, including ectoplasm. They'll understand the butterfly, not just fix the cocoon, addressing root causes, not just symptoms.
Did Friedrich von Stein offer any specifics on what these ultrasenses are like?
Oh yeah. Friedrich apparently described being able to see inside patients as if they had no skin, like having built-in microscopic vision and transparency.
Seeing cells and organelles naturally, without a microscope.
That's what Friedrich claimed. Seeing individual cells, even the tiny structures inside cells. And he said more evolved spirits could perceive atoms and subatomic particles, operating at a quantum level, basically.
If doctors could do that, what would happen to MRIs, X-rays, all that?
Fructuoso makes exactly that point. The entire medical instrument industry would collapse. Mass unemployment. which leads him to suggest these abilities might be released gradually, in a controlled way, as humanity evolves ethically to handle them.
A controlled release of psychic powers.
Okay. What about treatment capabilities? Did von Stein mention specifics there?
Yes, really advanced stuff. Frederick claims spiritual doctors know how to manipulate pluripotent stem cells from cancer patients and even transport them into human beings.
Manipulate stem cells energetically.
And transform them. He said they could block tumor vascularization, stop tumors getting blood supply in seconds or minutes by turning stem cells into cancer-attacking cells.
That's precision medicine beyond anything we have now. Seconds or minutes. It's healing at the speed of thought, almost. And Frederick apparently wanted to demonstrate this.
Demonstrated how?
He challenged Fructuoso to bring his own son, Tiago, who has mediumistic senses, for an experiment.
His son? What happened?
Tiago went into the medium's cabin holding a flask of preservative liquid. Frederick, incorporated a medium, also went in. When they came out,
Yes.
the flask was filled with blood clots, and Tiago had a huge blood stain on his left side near the spleen area, physically present blood.
Where did the blood come from? Was Tiago injured?
Apparently not injured in a harmful way. The material was sent for analysis at a top Brazilian institute, Manguinhos.
And the results?
A pathologist confirmed large quantities of lymphocytes, key immune cells. French scientists then identified some as bone marrow stem cells with specific features, dilated cytoplasm.
So the conclusion was
That the spiritual doctors had somehow extracted stem cells from Tiago's bone marrow or spleen and demonstrated they knew how to transform them into attacking cells for cancer. Tangible biological evidence, Fructuoso argues.
extracting and transforming stem cells without surgery. That's incredible. You also mentioned dematerialization earlier.
Right, the flip side of materialization. He tells this story about his watch vanishing during a public meeting.
Just disappeared.
Poof, gone. Luís de Rocha Lima, his mentor, with the medium Gilberto Rosa, intervened. Gilberto got this full-body electric shock, which seemed to transfer to Rocha Lima.
Okay.
Then Rocha Lima just pointed at Fructuoso's wrist, and bam, the watch reappeared.
Reappeared out of thin air.
That's the account. The interpretation was that malintentioned spirits took it, and the good guys recovered and rematerialized it.
From a physics perspective, that's mind-boggling.
Absolutely. Fructuoso points out the scientific challenge. To dematerialize a watch, you'd need to know the exact position and momentum of every single electron in it simultaneously.
Which violates Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. You can't know both precisely.
Exactly. It's supposed to be fundamentally impossible in our physics. Yet, Fructuoso says they say they know how to do it. They operate beyond that limitation.
And the medical implication of that ability.
It's huge. If you can dematerialize a watch, Fructuoso reasons, future doctors could dematerialize kidney stones, gallstones, bladder stones,
Or tumors.
tumors in the liver, lungs, brain. Anything composed of atoms could potentially be dematerialized without surgery. A completely non-invasive removal.
Wow. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Did von Stein ever talk about the causes of illness from a spiritual perspective? Like karma?
He did.
Uh-huh.
Fructuoso recounts von Stein revealing the karmic cause for a patient with widespread melanoma.
And what was it?
In past lives, that person had apparently abused and insulted lepers.
So the skin disease was a direct karmic result.
That was the explanation given, reinforcing Fructuoso's idea. You will plant what you want, but the harvest is obligatory. A moral, spiritual dimension to disease.
That's a challenging perspective. It leads back to mediumship itself. Is it a gift, a burden, a medical condition?
Fructuoso is clear. Mediumship is not a disease. It's a natural sensitivity. He says, anyone who feels in any grain the influence of the spirit is for this fact a medium. It's inherent.
And maybe genetic.
He believes it's at least partially ingrained in our genetics. And there's emerging science that might support this. Research on the pineal gland.
The organ of mediumship.
Right. They found apatite crystals inside it. And studies, like by Dr. Sergio Felipe de Oliveira using X-ray diffraction and CT scans, show a correlation.
More crystals means?
Greater capture of energetic fields, or what Fructuoso interprets as mediumistic sensitivity. More antenna for spiritual signals, basically.
Which leads to the speculation.
Could genetic engineering in the future put more apatite crystals in my epiphysis? Could we enhance mediumship biologically? A wild thought.
Definitely. What about the energy itself? Can people learn to direct it consciously?
He touches on that, referencing the Russian medium Nina Kulagina, who could move small objects with her mind's psychokinesis.
But there was a cost, right?
A huge cost. She lost 1.5 kilograms of body mass for every 30 minutes of doing it. Our current bodies, Fructuoso says, aren't built to handle that kind of internal energy output without massive depletion.
So we're not biologically ready yet.
Not quite, but he points to research on the HRI gene linked to intelligence. It was fabled for 300 million years, then mutated 18 times in the last 6 million. He sees this as evidence that human intelligence is increasing and under control, a guided evolution.
Meaning?
The mediumistic energy of the future will be pure and mentally directed. We'll evolve to wield this power consciously, efficiently, without the physical drain seen in pioneers like Kulagina.
And how does he see Jesus' miracles fitting into this framework?
As advanced mediumistic healing. When Jesus said, "Who touched me? Virtue left me," Fructuoso interprets it as spiritual doctors, using Jesus' powerful energy amplified by the patient's faith. Jesus as a powerful conduit.
So not always Jesus doing it directly.
Right. If Jesus wasn't physically there, like healing the centurion's servant from afar, Fructuoso suggests the doctors who accompanied him spiritually carried out the healing. Collaborative spiritual medicine, even back then. Demystifying miracles as advanced but lawful phenomena.
It's a complete reframing. Okay, so let's look at the specific capabilities he envisions for these future doctors and the broader societal changes. So, painting a picture of this future physician. What are they like, according to Fructuoso?
It's a blend. They'll have all of the conventional medical knowledge, rigorous training, plus these highly developed ultra-mediumistic senses.
A combination of science and spirit. What can they actually do?
The list is pretty astounding. Clairvoyant perception of the spiritual world, so they can see and communicate directly with their spirit colleagues.
Built-in consultation.
Exactly. Microscopic and ultramicroscopic vision, seeing inside the body down to the cells or atoms without instruments. Performing hyperphysical surgeries,
Which involves
molecular disintegration of problems, dissolving tumors, stones, and even materializing ectoplasmic prostheses if needed. It's medicine operating on multiple dimensions simultaneously.
He shared an anecdote about this, didn't he? From a surgeon at Frei Luís.
Yeah, a female surgeon medium there. She described being in the OR and seeing more spiritual doctors than incarnated ones, working alongside the physical team.
And her vision changed.
Dramatically. She said it would gain transparency and microscopy, allowing her to literally enter the patient's body, visually, see organs from the inside. She even described feeling like she could navigate the bloodstream and watch red blood cells flow past.
Like that old movie, Fantastic Voyage.
Fructuoso made the exact same comparison. And she also mentioned the ability to dematerialize defective anatomical parts, just dissolve diseased tissue without cutting.
It sounds like science fiction, but she described it as her actual experience.
As a first-hand account, yes, showing glimpses of this future medicine already happening in specific contexts.
He also told a story about a surgery going wrong, a lost cause situation.
Right, a really dramatic case. A patient was hemorrhaging uncontrollably in surgery. 2 hours they fought it, nothing worked. The main surgeon finally declared the case lost, patient bleeding out.
Terrible situation.
The assisting surgeon, who knew Fructuoso and his teachings, remembered the idea that doctors are never alone. In desperation, he just silently prayed for help, for a solution. Immediately, he says, an idea popped into his head, a specific technique. The professor was reluctant, Ken, that the case was lost anyway, but the assistant insisted.
Did it work?
Within 2 minutes, the bleeding that had raged for 2 hours was completely stopped. Patient saved, no complications.
Wow. How did Fructuoso interpret that?
He believed the prayer created a psychosphere, an energetic opening, allowing the spiritual doctors to intervene and implant the life-saving idea directly into the receptive surgeon's mind. Guided intervention.
That's powerful. There was another healing story too, wasn't there? Even more extraordinary, involving his own family.
Yes, this one seemed deeply impactful for him personally. His wife's cousin's wife was dying in a top ICU from pericarditis inflammation around the heart. 40 days she'd been there. Heart compressed by fluid. Doctors couldn't find any cause, no bacteria, nothing. She was fading.
What did Fructuoso do?
He brought the medium, Gilberto Rocha, into the ICU. Gilberto went into a trance.
And what did he perceive?
He described seeing a hideous entity tied to the bed, hypnotized. This entity had black prolongations, energetically blocking the woman's heart, brain, kidneys, preventing medications from working. A spiritual blockage.
An entity causing the illness.
That was the medium's perception. After a prayer, Gilberto announced Frederick von Stein and a spirit medical team had arrived. They removed the entity.
Just removed it?
Energetically, yes. Then Gilberto described something else, seeing a barrel of emerald green liquid being channeled into the patient. healing energy.
Like an energetic transfusion.
Kind of. He said it went in green, came out black initially, like cleansing, then got clearer until finally it went in green and came out green, signifying a purification, an unblocking.
And the patient.
After this intervention, she made a rapid, complete recovery. Baffled her doctors. She's now a grandmother, living a full life.
That's incredible. What did Fructuoso tell the other doctors?
Therein lies the dilemma. He realized he couldn't possibly tell them, oh, a medium saw an entity attached to her and spirit doctors removed it and poured green energy in. They'd think he was completely crazy, risk his medical license.
So what did he do?
He kept silent. The official explanation became some kind of hypothetical microorganism mutation. He chose silence to protect his ability to continue his work, understanding the world wasn't ready for that explanation.
A tough choice. All these individual healings, these future capabilities, how does he connect this to the bigger picture, like the whole planet?
He zooms way out, placing it all within a framework of planetary evolution. He describes Earth now as a planet of trials and atonements. A difficult school, basically, where evil is operating and we learn tough lessons, face karmic challenges.
But it's changing.
Yes, he says it's transitioning, moving towards becoming a planet of regeneration, a higher level where evil will still exist but will be supplanted by good. Good becomes the dominant force.
What happens to people who don't get with the program, who resist that shift towards good?
His view is they won't be able to reincarnate here on the upgraded Earth. They'll reincarnate on planets in the Stone Age relative to Earth's new level.
Back to the Stone Age. Do they lose everything they learned?
No, he clarifies that. Their knowledge doesn't regress. Instead, they'll use their existing knowledge to help the less evolved humanities on those Stone Age planets. It's still part of their journey, just redirected.
So the current chaos we see, wars, pandemics, division, how does that fit in?
He uses an analogy. It's like a house in total disarray while you're moving from one floor to a nicer floor upstairs. The mess is part of the transition.
So the upheaval is a symptom of this shift.
Exactly. He suggests a large volume of very compromised spirits are being given one last chance to incarnate here, to make amends before Earth fully moves up a step into regeneration. It's the closing phase of the trials and atonement era, hence the intensity.
That's a massive perspective, linking individual healing, mediumship, all the way up to planetary evolution.
It's a completely integrated worldview from the micro to the macro.
What an incredible journey we've taken with Dr. Fructuoso today. I mean, exploring his experiences, the scientific lens he tries to apply, it's just deeply compelling.
It really is. Seeing these phenomena, often dismissed as supernatural, through the eyes of a trained surgeon trying to find scientific parallels. It definitely challenges conventional thinking.
His dedication to bridging these seemingly separate worlds, science and spirituality, is quite remarkable.
And for you listening in, this deep dive really offers, I think, a unique way to look at things. Not just medicine, but maybe the potential of consciousness itself, our place in this bigger cosmic picture. Fructuoso paint.
Yeah, his work definitely pushes us to consider these unexplored frontiers where science and spirit might actually meet, revealing a much richer reality, maybe, than we usually imagine.
It encourages that questioning spirit, staying open to possibilities we might normally dismiss out of hand.
Absolutely. Which leads to a final thought. If our thoughts really are energy, like Dr. Fructuoso suggests, and if maybe our planet is going through some kind of transition, what kind of future medicine could you personally begin to practice in your own life right now? Not just for physical health, but maybe for your emotional, mental, spiritual well-being. And maybe, by extension, for the world around you.
That's a powerful question to ponder.
Something to think about until our next deep dive.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Until next time, take care and have a wonderful and blessed day.